It's one of life's toughest questions. Do I go for the L or the Rally? I love the sleek and trail-focused design of the L, but man, would I like a cockpit setup like the Rally has. But what if you didn't have to choose? What if you could turn this into something like this?
Turns out, you can. And not only does it look cool, it's actually super practical as well. Let me explain. In its original design, the CRF300L is a big square of nothing here. That means that when you're riding, you constantly have wind gushing against your body and pulling on your visor. It's not a huge deal, and I totally get why given the bike's intended purpose, but when you have to ride 2 hours of highway to get to the best trails, it does get kinda tiring. So the very first thing I wanted out of this facelift was some sort of wind protection. Another thing I miss in this square is a place to mount your phone or navigation. Up until now, I've always just mounted my phone to the handlebar, but especially with the stock handlebar on this bike, I found that to be pretty cumbersome. I eventually found a nice solution using the SP mirror mount on the crossbar, but while riding the Trans-Euro Trail in Slovenia, I still found myself looking down quite a bit. It's not a big deal when you're sitting down like this, but as soon as you're standing up, this is not the safest place to look. It would be so much better to have your navigation up here, so you can just glance down while you're riding. And this is what I like about the CRF Rally so much.
So I went online to look at my options, but googling windshields didn't turn up great results, to put it mildly. Call me vain, but I like my bike to look nice. I tried all sorts of keywords, but after hours of searching without much result, I called it a night and turned to Instagram for some mind-numbing entertainment. But then, in one of those rare moments when cookies actually serve you well, I stumbled upon the perfect solution. This is the One Adventure Rally Tower, a light thermoplastic 3D printed tower that provides a windshield, 2 40-watt LED headlights for increased visibility when night riding, and an adjustable platform to host a wide range of navigation setups, whether you are commuting or racing a rally.
So what's included in the box? Of course, the Rally Tower itself. It pretty much comes fully assembled. All you have to do is install the new base, install the right bracket, and install the left bracket. Now these are spare ones, and here you have a few little spare brackets. These are used to mount the windshield to the tower itself. And the reason you get a few spare ones is because these are designed to break in case of a severe crash, to protect the tower itself and the bike from further damage. So I did a test to see if this actually works. Maybe not entirely on purpose, but if you want to know how it went, then make sure you watch till the end, because we'll talk a bit more about these little guys. The One Adventure Rally Tower is designed as a plug-and-play solution. So all we have to do is undo 4 bolts, 2 on this side and 2 on that side, take off the headlight, unplug the wiring, take off the headlight base, and then we'll install the new base, install the Rally Tower, plug it back in, install the left bracket, install the right bracket, tighten everything down, and put the windshield in place. So before I show you the end result, I'm just quickly going to install these new handguards. I wrecked my previous handguards in a crash, along with my handlebar, by the way. So pretty much everything is new now. These are the Zeta XC Pro ones. They look and feel super sturdy, and I think the black is going to look super nice with the Rally Tower. If you want a more detailed look into the installation process, then check out my other video where I'll walk you through it step by step. It's not difficult, but I can give you some handy pointers along the way. You will find the link in the description below. So now that we have everything installed, let me show you what it looks like. Alright, so it's time to test the tower and see if it is as good as it is good looking. The very first thing we're going to test is the wind reduction. We get about 20 centimeters of windshield, and I'm keen to see how much of an effect that has.
I didn't waste any time and immediately drove onto the highway to see how well the windshield performs at high speeds. I won't lie, I was a little skeptical as it's only 20 centimeters high, but the effect blew me away, so to speak. The wind reduction really is substantial. There's still a bit of pull on my helmet, but my body is completely wind free. So test number 1 is passed with flying colors. The navigation setup barely needs testing. It only takes one quick look to see how much better this placement is. A nice feature is that you can tilt the mounting platform upwards and downwards to adjust the angle for when you're sitting or standing. It would have been even better if you could turn these bolts by hand to make adjustments on the fly, but admittedly, this is nitpicking.
So I'm on my way to the bit of trail where I'm going to test the headlights. It's actually this bit of trail right here, like running up here. There's not much legal trails around here, so this is kind of like a run into a mountain bike trail. Oh, a deer! Wow! That's cool.
For the light test, I've made a side-by-side comparison. In both clips, I have my camera mounted directly under the visor of my helmet, but unfortunately the angle is not 100% identical. The difference between the lights is so big though that I think the point will still come across.
Alright, so this is the bit of trail where we're going to test the light. I'm just going to wait till it's like pitch black. In the meantime, I'm just gonna try to adjust the headlight angle a bit because I think it's a little low, but I'll fiddle with it a bit, and then when it's dark we're going to see how much light it actually makes.
So right off the bat, when you switch the bike on, you can see a big difference. This is not so much a difference in power, but more the difference between halogen versus LED. LED lights emit way more lumen per watt than halogen bulbs do. The light is also much wider, which creates a better lit area and allows you to see more detail, which you can clearly see here. Lighting was not a decisive factor for me when I purchased the rally tower. More like a nice to have. But now that I've ran some tests and experienced the difference, I'm really happy with it. Seeing that much more detail in the trail was definitely confidence inspiring. There actually is another nice feature with these lights, but I'll share that in the conclusions as it's more focused on road riding. On the way back to my garage, I fully opened the throttle to see how the windshield would do at maximum speed. If you look at the full frame of this clip, you can see there's still a bit of wind pull on my helmet, but it really is significantly less than before. Now if you want to reap the full benefits of all this real estate, you can install a Samsung Active Tab using one of Avenge's custom-made tablet mount. You simply bolt it onto the tower and install and remove the tablet using the locking mechanism. So this is the Samsung Active Tab 2. It's a bit of an older model, but because of that you can pick them up for super cheap. I paid 75 euros for this one. It does mean that it won't run some of the newer and bigger apps like games, but for navigation it's absolutely fine. I checked and this runs on Android 9. I think the newest version is like Android 13, but my navigation app, which is the Osmond app, only requires Android 6, so you even still have a bit of room left. Of course, the big screen gives a really nice overview in standard navigation apps, but it also opens up some cool possibilities for roadbook apps like Terra Pirata or DMD. One Adventure even makes a very affordable remote to scroll through the apps like you would on a real paper roadbook. It has 5 buttons and 2 modes to control different types of apps. In roadbook mode, you can use the buttons to set your odometer and to scroll up and down through the roadbook. I'm using the Terra Pirata roadbook app, which was recommended to me by One Adventure, and that works really well. In Maps mode, indicated by a green light, you can use the buttons to scroll through your navigation app, zoom in and out, and recenter your position. What's cool is that in roadbook mode, the buttons also double function as multimedia controls, so you can play your favorite music while riding. You can't control your music while using a roadbook app, but do you really need to? Probably not. On the commute to and from the trails, however, that's a nice feature to have. So if you're anything like me and find the rally roadbook style of navigating interesting, then this is a super cool option to check out. So remember how early in this video I said I tested these little brake brackets? Well, I took the bike to an off-road event which had a 30-kilometer loop of the thickest, deepest, most dense sand I've ever ridden. And it went okay, but I had a big spill there and, well, let me just show you what happened. Oh, kut.
Ik zag het. Het is echt afgebroken.
Wel snel. Ja, het is geen ramp. Die dingen zijn ervoor gemaakt om dat te doen. Other than the windshield, there was no visible damage to the tower, so I took it off entirely and hid it behind the tree to pick up later. Oké, we gaan hier achter die boom neer.
Ik heb een foto gemaakt van de boom.
Ja, perfect. Despite the very rough conditions and a lot of crashes, the tower held up really well after that, and I have not heard a single squeak nor discovered any sign of wear. Now if you want to know how the CRF did in these conditions, then make sure to subscribe. I've got some great advice that day, and a full event breakdown with some very helpful tips will follow soon.
So the windshield got torn off in the crash, but the only thing that broke are these 3 little brackets. So they work exactly as advertised, and what's cool is that One Adventure actually sends you a bunch of spare brackets. So all you have to do is replace the broken ones, put it back on, and you're good to go again. So I've been in touch with One Adventure and they told me the same goes for all the other parts as well. So each part can be replaced separately. I think that's super nice because let's be honest, off-road shit is going to happen, especially for me because I tend to crash quite a lot. And I think it's nice to know that if you do end up having some damage, you don't have to buy a completely new tower. So to round things up, what do I think of the Rally Tower after testing it? For me, the windshield and better place navigation alone are worth the investment. And with the navigation, it's not just that it's in a better spot, I also really like the flexible mounting options and the fact that you can angle it upward or downward for when you're sitting or standing. I'm also very happy with the improved light setup. The stock headlight on the 250L really isn't that great. I would often use my high beam on the road just to have enough visibility, but of course, that's not always desirable. So what I really like about this setup is that the angle of both lights can be adjusted. So you can use the top light as a high beam, or you can angle it downwards a little and use it as a second headlight. And this can be really helpful when you do want a bit more light, but you don't want to blind anyone. I also just really like the look of it. I was surprised how difficult it was to find a good looking windshield solution. I saw a lot of ugly ones, I saw a few decent ones, but this is the only elegant solution I've come across. So the build quality seems very good. I'm actually surprised by how sturdy it feels on the bike. Like, this is going nowhere. And it's not just how it's mounted on the bike, but all the individual parts feel very solid as well. And the fact that some parts are designed to break in a crash just really tops it off for me. So I'd say it's well built, but it's especially very cleverly designed. With a price tag of 449 euros, the tower is on the pricier side, but personally I think it's worth it. You do have to add another 25 euros for the tablet holder and another 80 euros if you want the controller as well, but you don't necessarily need those. Although I actually do think that the tablet is very nice to have. Now if this is too expensive for you, I think the transparent Adventure Spec mini fairing is a very good budget option. So who's this tower for? Obviously, it's ideal for people who want to participate in rallies and need to mount lots of equipment to their bike, but let's be honest, that number of riders is limited. I think the real beneficiaries are the people who use their CRF as a lightweight adventure bike. The people who could use some wind protection on the commutes and who really benefit from the much improved navigation and lighting setup. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Why not just buy a CRF Rally? And I get it, you know, it's a fair question. I think there could be several reasons. People may not have known they wanted features like this. The second is that not everybody loves the headlights on the Rally. I don't mind them, although if I had to choose, I think I prefer this setup. No offense, no, I still think the Rally is a very nice bike, but yeah. If I had to choose one, I would go for this one. Now personally, I chose the L because I knew I wanted to ride off-road. I also knew I had zero skill and I knew I would drop the bike a lot. Ooh, whoa! Ay, ay, ay. So for me it was just a matter of a little less plastic and a little less weight. Now if you're still not convinced that upgrading the L could be a good way to go, then I have one final reason that should settle the argument. In the Netherlands, the price difference between an L and a Rally is 1300 euros. That means I can buy a brand new L, put a One Adventure Rally Tower on it, a bigger tank, and still have a few $100 left for better suspension. So, you know, there's that. So I hope this video was helpful or at least entertaining in any way. If it was, then please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps a lot. If you want to watch more CRF videos, you can click this video right here to see how I made this bike nuke-proof, or you can click that video to see how you get in trouble on an adventure ride. For now, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Ciao!